Kali, tools, desktop, tools, PDF, and then should be what's it called? Dummy.pdf. Yep, dummy.pdf. I hate when Linux does this. It's annoying. That's not what I wanted. Sorry. Paste clipboard. I deleted the test PDF beforehand, and now I need to. Cool. Append a custom file? No. There we go. File name, VTF _ promo. The host is 192.168.192.149. Output default host is fine. 0.0.0.0. Oh, it wants the actual URL. All right, so I'll just run the server then. Yeah, it's letter casing. It's letter casing. Yeah, I fixed that. Don't worry. Quickly grab that. And then, oh wait, doesn't like. Cool. All right. And it's Python. Dash. I'm going to put it on a different port since it's already fine. Casing here. Case. This dumbass casing. Sorry. Dumb casing. HTTP. There we go. And it doesn't like that because it's running Python 2, 3. It's already in use. Oh no. Is it because of what I used earlier? All right, whatever. I'll just do 8080 then. I'm running a different server, that's why. I'm running a malware a exam report template server. So that's actually not the directory I wanted to run it in. You always learn. Desktop tools. And then I'll just run it in here. There we go. So we have the PDF, I assume, checking here. I'll copy just the link itself. I'll put the, that's not the link. I'll copy the link itself. Should be fine here. It'll create the binary. Sacrifice. Dedication. So I can create the listener here if I want to, and I should. So what you should do is create the listener. It'll listen on the specific port. We'll create the listener. It's basically just a netcat listener listening on the specific port. On this here, I have to put the actual on this here. We are running the server. It's run as the listener is running. Currently, right now, I have to just put the PDF within the directory. I'm gonna make sure I go into the right. There we go. Desktop tools. CD equal PDF. And currently, right now, it's that dummy PDF file. Unless I created it. Yep. Desktop tools. Cool. There we go. Sorry, it's taking a little bit longer than it should have. I tested it earlier, and it worked fine, but for some reason this wasn't working. The IP for lhost. So the IP, right, should be the listening machine. So specifically, it's the machine that you're running the tool on. So for the one who asked. Yes, it is the attacker machine, correct. I'll just renaming the file here. That's all. Cool. And then I'm going to just move the file onto the server, which is, I'm going to move it into the folder alone. Already exists. There we go. The server is running on tool section. Yes, place the phishing spam link inside the PDF. Yes, forward it. The name of the application is Evil PDF. I put it in the chat there for everyone. Cool. And sometimes this doesn't work as smoothly as I like to because I'm running a lot of services on this machine, so a lot of them are conflicting. Like I'm running a C2 server, I'm running a document server. Let's go into here. There we go, the dummy.zip. I can open that. That's the PDF file here. So what I can do is I can go onto my target machine. For example, we're going to be using Windows 10 Enterprise machine. We'll go into this Windows 10 Pro machine here, and we'll server it onto this machine. So you have to put in the IP address 168.192.149 of the attacker machine, and then the port I believe I put it on is this port 8080, which should be Let me make sure that's the correct one I put it on. It's serving on port 8080. When I do that 168, that goes. There we go. Now I've opened the PDF on the target machine. So let me check the listener now. I think it's running on port 444. As you can see, this is a brand new machine, so I haven't actually set up the. Don't want this. There we go. The PDF file has been opened. Check here on the listener. Yes, it is the EvoCorp logo. This entire machine is based off the Mr. Robot TV show. This machine is called Angela. I do have a Tyrell, and I have the eCorp domain controller. For those wondering. So. Interesting. I think it's the Python file itself. PDF file itself. I'm gonna go through a little troubleshooting with you guys, just so you can have this, if you have this issue yourselves. And I'll do this quickly so I can move on to the next attack. Or I could move on to the next one and circle over back to this one. What do you guys think? Okay. Let's see. I could do the troubleshooting in the question section. How about that? Since I want to get through the other two, which are pretty quickly, pretty easily to do. This one's a little bit harder to do because sometimes it depends on the servers that you're running, and the file itself is a little bit more annoying to deal with. So we'll do the next attack. Okay, that's fine. This one, I'll circle back to this one. So I'm gonna close all the servers that are hosting, just so I can make sure when I redo the attack, it should be clean. And I'm also gonna close the running service that I'm running right now, which is in a Docker container. So I'll do a sudo docker -psa. As you can see, I do have servers running up, so I have to stop them. How do I think it's Docker. I think it's, damn, I haven't used Docker. It's so long. Stop. And I think it's this one. It's on ID. That's stopped. Cool. PSA. Both of them are down. Cool. All right, so I'm gonna quickly go over the other attack here, just so I can quickly go over it real quick with you guys. So if the idea of it, it's you would encapsulate a payload within a PDF file, which is what the tool does. And yeah, it was the VTF promo file, but I did also check the promo file, and it wasn't created as a PDF as it should have been. That's why I deleted it. No, trust me, I looked that over as well. And what it'll do, it'll open up a reverse shell. It will open up a reverse shell, which is a interpreter shell. And if you guys know what Meterpreter is under Metasploit, there are a lot of other tools that you can utilize within that, which could go into things like Kerber roasting and such. So, with that being said, the next attack is going to be Kerber roasting. Kerber roasting is just a post-exploitation attack used to obtain a password hash within an Active Directory account that has a service principal name. So the service principal names are pretty much services that are running on a machine, such as like a MySQL server, some type of email server that has a that is designed only for that specific service. And usually how it works is very simply this authentication service ticket that gets generated and sent to a KDC, which is in the domain controller, which is a key distribution center. That service is built into the domain controller and is meant for servicing, authenticating keys and granting keys specific to a service that you're trying to request service for. And then there's an authentication protocol that allows you to gain access to that server using such keys, which that key is ticket is known as a ticket granting ticket, or TGT, which is done by a ticket granting service. It's pretty much simple here. It kind of works in loop. Client sends a request to the KDC. The KDC then sends a ticket granting ticket. It's then the service goes and validates it, and then there's more authentication in terms of requesting the access with that ticket, and then the access being made from the server. And this is all hosted within the domain controller itself. So how we're going to take advantage of this, if you might know, this might be a little bit more of an advanced topic, just as a precursor. Just hope you guys know at first. This is a little bit more of an advanced. So this is not necessarily a beginner thing. However, you can still follow along. Let's look at the chat here. I can share the links to the Gitbook page, so you can really go through it. So you can really go through it a little bit more in depth. These are pages that I have created, so it's very, very well documented for you to follow step by step. So how we're going to do this, we're going to be using a tool within the InPacket tool known as Get User SPNs. It's basically just allowing you to look for service accounts that are active on the environment. And then we're going to requesting a ticket granting service ticket, also known as a TGT, with that tool. And then when we get the ticket, which is distributed by the KDC, we're going to be hopefully cracking the hash with something known as like Hashcat. You can use John the Ripper. You can use other hash cracking tools. But it could work this way. Cool. So I'll go into a quick demo for you guys on this specifically. And only thing you're going to need is mostly everything that's built into Kali Linux already. So you are going to need, you're going to need Python. You're going to need Python. You're going to need Hashcat. Oops, spelled that wrong. You're going to need Hashcat, and you're going to need the InPacket toolkit and making sure that you have the get users SPNs, which is right. Get. There you go, right here. So this is all stuff that can be easily done via just Kali Linux in of itself. I do want to make sure that you guys do more research on the specific tools and exactly what you're doing with these tools, just so you know exactly how they work and what they're doing. because sometimes this stuff just won't work under a specific environment. But for a testing environment, this would be fine. So the first thing we're going to do is I'm going to, let's say, assume that you used an initial access and you was able to get a password from a user, such as through like a keylogger or something like that. It's pretty, usually that's quite common, or usually there are scenarios where that can happen. So the first thing we want to do is we want to find the active service accounts on the domain. So how we can do that is we can go to Npacket. We'll do get user SPNs. You want to make sure you put the domain. So in this case, I'm going to be using ecorp.local because the name of the domain is ecorp, and then the user that you've compromised under any other type of step, either through reconnaissance or through some type of initial access. So in this case, we're going to be using just T-Wellick or Tyrell Wellick account, and we do know just the user password for this account. This is just only a user level access. This isn't systems administrator access. This user is not a domain user, and we can check that within the domain controller here. So I'm gonna go to Tools, Computers and Users, Tyrell Wellick, and if we go into Member of, we can see he's just a domain user, and his permissions are pretty simple. He doesn't have any special permissions. Yeah, he's not a domain admin. So this is not going to give you administrator access, but there are ways of doing that, and we can do that within the next attack. And then next, you just want to specify the domain controller IP address, or this is assuming you know the IP address of the domain controller. So if we run this, we should be able to see a service principal name or service principal name, which tends to be a SQL service. So it looks like there is a SQL server running on the target machine here or in the domain. How to get to know which in packets will be used. It depends on, there is a page specifically for in packet. It goes into a little bit more depth on the specific tools and what to be used on in-packet toolkit. Just search up in-packet, and there's a lot more details on the official Git book. So each in-packet has tons of different tools within it. Cool. All right, let's get back into it pretty quickly. So we do see a SQL service running on the current machine. With that information, we want to see if there is a vulnerable account username, or we just want to be able to see if we can crack any passwords or grab any hashes from this specific service. And how we can do that is pretty simple. It's kind of similar to the way we did with the service principal name. The only difference is we run the same command, but we're going to request a ticket granting service ticket from the domain controller. So going back to this diagram, we're requesting a ticket granting service ticket, and then from the KDC, we'll hopefully receive a ticket granting service ticket. And we can send a TGT ticket and requested the service granting ticket. And then we can use that ticket to gain authentication access to a specific service on the machine. This is quite by default. But we can also use that that hash in other ways. And there are tools that can be able to crack those hashes. Some are a little bit better than others. So we're going to request a ticket granting service ticket, and we can see that this is a Kerberos ticket because it'll start off with KBR 5 and then TGS, ticket granting service, with a whole string of what seems to be just random hash data. But this is important why we would need this. So I'm going to copy this. I'm going to create a new tab. Let's go into the desktop. And I'm just going to make, I'm just going to make a hash file, a hash.txt file. And I'm going to put this in here. So this should be in here fine. We're going to keep this separate in of itself. And as you can see, if I open this up, it's just only this long string of text in this hash file. We're going to need this later on. So now that we requested the ticket, we have the hash. Now we need to crack it. There are many tools to do this. I do love using Hashcat. Hashcat is a tool that you can use to crack hashes, and there's thousands upon thousands of different ways you can do that. So I want to find something that'll help me with finding something for Kerberos. And wait, he doesn't like. Let's find. Oh, sorry, grep. So we'll find something that finds Kerberos, and we can see all these different types of modules. The one where we are looking for is the TGS rep. This is the ticket granting service, one that we're going to be using for Kerberos, and which is this number here. Keep in mind that number. So how we can use the current syntax to be able to use Hashcat is very simple. I want to make sure I'm in the desktop because my hash is in there. So I'll do Hashcat, the module. So a module is the number that we're going to be using to crack the hash, and specifying exactly what we want, which is the Kerberos TGS rep. So that if we remember, that one is 13100. And our file name with that hash in it is the one on the desktop here you can see, called hash.txt. And we're going to use something very simple. Everyone tends to use this sometimes just for basic password testing. And if you know, it's actually the user share word lists. And it's the rocku.txt file. This is built into not Kali. Sometimes it is. If not, you could find it under sec lists, rocku. There you go. You can find something like this. You can use sec lists, which is a collection of lists you might want to use, or it can just use for the rocku word list, and you can download this from here. These are both easily accessible and on GitHub. Let me go into see if you guys have any more questions before I run this to show you that we would be able to crack the hash. We need machines, Kali Linux and Windows Server. Kali Linux, you can use any type of attacker machine. You could even use just a standard Ubuntu machine with tools on it. Doesn't matter what it is. The Windows Server would be utilized if you are running with, or if you're trying to do their Active Directory exploitation, yes. Cool, no questions. All right, so I'll run this, and we should be able to see that it's currently running. It'll go through a couple of optimizations. And we did specify exactly what hash we wanted to crack. It should be basically instant as soon as it finishes here. There we go. So instantly, we can see that we did get the password here, which is the mypassword123 hashtag. And it did crack it within a matter of, I guess technically, no time at all. It was instant. So this is one way we can utilize Kerberos to gain access to specific service accounts on the machine. So now we technically have access to this running SQL service that is on this machine, on this domain controller here. And just for proof of concept, I did put in the SQL service in the description that is indeed the correct password here. So this is exactly how we can utilize something like Kerberos to exploit Active Directory. Sometimes there are scenarios where Kerberos doesn't work, and you will have to do something known as rep roasting. This is a little similar to how Kerberosing works in terms of acquiring hashes, but there are some prerequisites to it. But that's a whole different topic that you can utilize some type of research. Yeah, these are just demo. This is just a demo at this current point in time. If you are able to follow through, you can, but this is not necessarily a full proof of concept in terms of being able to follow every single point in time. For every step, I can release the PDF with specific steps on how to do this, step by step. So the slides that I currently have that don't have as much details on it, I will be releasing one that does. So it will be posted on LinkedIn if you haven't, if you want to follow a little bit more hands-on that way. We don't have any video content for this at this current point in time. Maybe VTF or me in my red team, we might do something where we might do some video recording content as well, but that is up to debate. Yeah, I'll provide more I'll provide instructions for everything. Cool. All right, so that covers Kerberosing. That one's pretty simple and quick. That one's just utilizing a post-exploitation attack. This assumes that you've gotten initial access and gotten some type of information. This isn't the first thing that you would be doing anyways on an enterprise environment. So the next thing is pass the hash, which is a very interesting one. Yep. I will be dropping more of the PDF or the slides on LinkedIn. So pass the hash is the next and last attack of today, which is where we'll be utilizing hashes from a hash dump to laterally move throughout an Active Directory network. So this kind of assumes that you've grabbed hashes from a specific attacker machine on the network. And let me see, grab this up here. And the goal is to obtain the hashes and utilizing those hashes to gain access to other services. So in this scenario, you'll be using the hash to directly connect to certain services or specific machines, log into different machines with the user as part of the authentication process. So you don't need password cracking in this scenario. It is actually more favorable to use hashes and passing hashes or passing tickets over through the network rather than using passwords or trying to crack passwords, because in most case scenario, there are organizations that have very strict password policies. Does anybody have any questions? Hands-on practice labs as part of the boot camp. That might have to be up to the, you might have to ask Mallory and those on specific on the boot camp. That's very much different than the Red Team internship here. At the internship, you'll be learning a lot of this stuff far more hands-on. As we are looked through and work with to make sure everyone understands on a more advanced level. Is this helpful for Hack-the-Box Dante? Yes, there are scenarios where you can use Dante to kind of learn this. And Dante also has specific types of attacks where it does cover things like pass the hash and other things like that. All right. Cool. Hold on 1 second here. I'm just see. I am just going through the chat here. Okay. Cool. All right. So this is assuming we have hashes. So first you want to make sure that you have some type of hashes. You can grab hashes from, let's say, for example, let me see. Let me quickly spawn. I'll show you exactly how this would work. Let me open up here. So you want to make sure you have a hashes of some sort, and you could do that via something like Meterpreter. I'm gonna quickly spawn a Meterpreter shell on a target machine, just so I could show you exactly how this would work. So I'm gonna run responder real quick. This portion right here is just me spawning the Meterpreter shell. This part you don't have to follow. This is just for the sake of being able to do so. All right, cool. I'm going to do it on one of these target machines here. Let's see. A second. 192.168.192.149. Oh, wrong thing. Cancel. Cool. Then that way. Second. That's a MFS SF console. It's going to be a PowerPoint technically, but it's going to be in PDF format. I'm just spawning a interpreter shell here. Don't worry. Let's do this pretty quickly here. Let's see, the domain .local. If you have any questions, you can put them in the chat. I'll also answer them as I'm doing this as well. SMB pass. SMB user. Let's see. Our hosts. How long will the session last? The session will last right after this attack here, and then I'll go into a Q&A, quick Q&A before I hand it back over. Should grab the IP address of this machine. 63. Then should be fine. Cool. So I have an interpreter shell on the machine. So this is the proof of concept is that you have some type of shell in the machine, and you do a hash dump. And as you can see, we have some hashes here, right? The one that we're really interested in is this administrator hash. This probably means that it's probably either a domain admin or a local administrator account. So I do want to keep an eye on this one specifically. And what we can do is we'll be using a tool that maybe some of you know about or have heard of. It's called CrackMap exec. So CrackMap exec basically it utilizes PS exec, and there are a little bit more details on that specifically. Let's see, on here. So CrackMap exec. It's just a Swiss Army knife type tool set that you can use for Windows exploitations, kind of similar to In-Packet Toolkit. But this one uses a mixture of PowerShell scripts and SMB. So it utilizes, this is specifically a lot for SMB exploitation. So, okay, now you know a little bit more of that. So we are targeting the SMB service on the machine because it is running SMB. Most domains are, and we are targeting a specific user that we did get the hash for, as you can see. And generally, I want to be able to focus on this administrator user. So I'm going to put a user as is it administrator? And then we are going to just put the hash. So as you can see, we don't need a password at all. We don't need a password for this. We do need to have the hash though. We don't need to crack it, but we do need to at least have the hash value. Which I think, if I'm not mistaken, is this last part here. So what this is going to do, this is going to go through the entire network, and it's going to see what services are, what machines are vulnerable or have this user, has this user accessed, the administrator user. And I think SMB has to be the subnet itself. Sorry, it can't be a specific IP address. So we're going to do 196.192.0 and then the subnet, which is 24. We'll just go through the entire network here. Administrator. I want to make sure there isn't any. Let me redo that. There we go. Cool. So as we can see, there is one machine that has logged into. Don't worry about that. There is one machine that has been, the administrator has logged into it, and it is this Angela machine. So previously we exploited this Tyrell machine here, the Windows Enterprise, but we do have access to, well, we can see that this user has access to this machine here as the administrator, which is great. This is what we want. So all we're going to do is very simple. We're going to go back to InPacket, right? We're going to go back utilizing InPacket, and we're going to use a tool called psexec. This is if I'm not mistaken, a default tool that is installed in Windows for SSM administrators and for whether it's default or they stopped including it within based Windows. Most enterprises or administrators are using psexec, so they have certain permissions and certain access to certain services on the machine and utilizing PowerShell to do so. So simple, we're going to just utilize that same account we found, which is the administrator account, and we're just going to use that hash here. So this the exact same hash here that we used, that we found, we're going to be using on this machine. And what psexec does, hopefully, if the service is up and it's running, which we did check, it should open up a Windows shell on the machine. And as you can see, it opens up a CMD shell, a command shell. You can see that we are NT authority, so we are basically admin access on the machine, and the host name of the machine is the Angela machine. So we got access from one machine, grabbed hashes from one machine, and then use the hashes to access this machine here. And now we can do whatever we want. We can open up a PowerShell window and use an EP bypass, which kind of bypasses administrator access. And now you can have certain other services on the machine. And you can do all different types of stuff. You can run agents on the machine. You can do PowerShell scripts. If you have any further questions on this specifically, especially based on the attack, let me know. Okay, let's check the question section, the Q&A section here. Cool. All right. I guess we'll go into just our Q&A section, which is a wrap up. If you guys have any further questions, those are some attacks. Some of them are a little bit more finicky to work with. My favorite attack I like doing a lot is the pass the hash. It's probably one of my favorite attacks to utilize, and using Kerber roasting or ASREP roasting for grabbing certain hashes. Password attacks tend to be kind of hard in terms of cracking, so I like using hash attacks. Cool. Let's see. What do you think of using Evil PDF and SET Toolkit? Both will actually work really well together. Although the idea with SET Toolkit is you will probably have to run a ngrok server of some sort, and probably have to run it on a spoofed domain or a domain that's been poisoned for it to really work in your favor. That one's a little bit more harder to get away with and to work with, especially when you're trying to target bigger companies out there like Google and such, which kind of deal with that very well. But it's not impossible. I would say SET Toolkit's really good for very specific, basic types of stuff. But if you want to do real social engineering phishing attacks, I would say go with something called GoPhish. You could be able to host your own server and change your domain and really have full access to sending out emails and such. Especially it's a more realistic way of doing it. It's far more stealthier than it is using something like the SET Toolkit and Evil PDF. Because most of the payloads that are generated by Evil PDF or probably have signatures that are already documented by things like VirusTotal and antivirus software. So it's probably not a good scenario. The idea is that you want to stay as stealthy as possible and not making as much noise. Sure, I will put my LinkedIn in the chat for everyone. I'll put where's my LinkedIn? There we go. I'll put my LinkedIn here. I'll also put, if you want to take a look, I'll put my GitHub as well. I do have some open source projects I have worked on before here as well. Give me a second. Where's the chat? Hopefully I didn't close it. There we go. There's my LinkedIn, and there is my GitHub. Yeah, I could provide the slides for today's session. It's not going to be the exact same ones. I'm going to add more details and more links to this, just so you can see it. But if you want, I can also just share this, and it's going to have more details. I will make a more formal post sharing this. I'll make sure I can probably do I have to make some changes to this though, so I can share something. For YouTube, I could probably create some type of content or some type of something like that, but that will just take time. It's not a guarantee. It happens, but yep. I say preparing for the OCP. Have you done any certifications? I've done a lot of cloud certifications and other security certifications. Currently, right now, I am enrolled in the OCP. So I think I have one more month or a month and a half before I have to take the OSCP. So that's what I'm focusing on nowadays. Learning a lot of this Active Directory stuff is going to help you very much on the OSCP, since a big portion of it is Active Directory, and it is a pass fail. It is you don't get partial points for it. OSCP with full-time job. Does SAP from Faraj help? I mean, it's good to put something on your resume with it if you create a really good project to present. But I think just volunteer experience, internships, and hands-on experience as much as possible probably helps the best. Certifications only help you so much get an interview, but they're not going to really guarantee you a job. Experience is what really matters, or finding a way to get types of experience. Boot camps, internships. Cool. How's the job market in the U.S.? It's like most other places right now. It's beginning of the year, so it's still kind of hard. Especially a lot of tech-related jobs, very competitive. You do have to keep in mind cybersecurity is not an entry-level field, so technically cybersecurity there is entry-level cybersecurity roles don't exist in the way you think they do, but getting rudimentary experience and stuff like help desk and such can help get your foot in the door. Help desk, systems administrator, sometimes web development with a focus in application security. Yes, you will need to be able to purchase a Route 53 domain on AWS. You might have to check with AWS's policy on running phishing servers because they might that might be against their TOS terms of service. So you might want to do more research into that. But yeah, you will have to purchase a domain, especially if you're trying to send test phishing emails. Cool. All right. I guess that's all for today. I'm going to submit this over to Karthik and Mallory, and they'll take over from here.
Awesome. Thank you, Joseph. This was an awesome session. I believe everyone was very active, and I can see they are messaging in chat as well as conversing in Slack. So thank you. Will you be sharing this PPT, or will you be creating a new PPT for?
I could share this one. I could share this one, but I do want to create another one that's more cohesive, and it'll be it might be a little bit more different. It might not have any branding on it. We'll see. I'll probably create.
Once it's done, you can share it to me, and I'll share it with the participants.
Sure.
And on behalf of all the participants, thank you, Joseph, for today. And
sure. I could send you. Awesome. I could send you this one specifically, and you can share this one, and I'll create another one for everyone else for my own personal reasons.
Awesome. Sure. Thank you. Okay, so for those who are not able to join, don't have an invitation for Slack, we are working on fixing it. I'm not sure what's happening. We are able to see your email IDs in Slack in the communication channel, but for some reason the invitation was not sent, so we are resending it. Apart from that, you would have received an email from VTF no reply. Make sure to go through the courses in the Attack IQ platform for day 1. And we'll be wrapping up right now, and we'll meet tomorrow. So thank you for joining this session, and if you have any doubts or anything, please message in Slack. You can tag me, Mary, or Patrick. So yeah, awesome. Mary, if you have anything to say before we end the meeting.
Yes. Yeah, I just wanted to say thank you everyone for participating. It is awesome to see the activity. here in the chat and the questions, and just an awesome interaction with all of you guys. We do have a wrap up at 2 p.m. Pacific. So right now, the next part of your bootcamp will be, as Karthik says, to work on your curriculum with Attack IQ. And then from there, we will reconvene around 2 p.m. and to do wrap up of day one and answer any of your questions. So we should be good to go from there. Victor will try to join. If not, then it will be just me to wrap up. You guys can use the same Zoom link that you have used to join this meeting to do that 2 p.m. Pacific. If you can't make it, that's fine. If you can, great. We just
Yeah. The Zoom link will be active, guys. Please go ahead and do your courses in the meantime. And if Victor wants to meet with you guys at 2 a.m., we'll share an announcement. So you can just join back in the same meeting link, and we'll catch up again. So that's it. And thank you for joining. Have a nice day, guys.
Thank you, guys. Take care, and we'll see you later on in a couple of hours.
Yes.
Thank you, guys.